Hello. Oh my goodness, she is back on Sunday, early evening. It is just, 5 o'clock, and here I am. And no, it's actually midnight here. So, yes, are you wondering why you are seeing me? Um, who is this person that's just going to be talking to you for the next hour, probably 15 minutes? Well, just in case you didn't know, my name is Yolanda, and I am locating cozy, and this is a broad chat. So, welcome to the channel. I'm glad if you're catching me live right now, or if you're catching the replays. I hope that this is going to be a lot of fun, insightful, entertaining information, and hopefully we're going to stay focused. But before I get started, I would love to bring my guest on, and my guest today is Dr. Maya Angelica. Dr. Maya Angelica, how you doing, hon?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just, sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to do a live today. And, thank goodness I do have content. So that I have pre-recorded some things that you can still post as a live. But sometimes it's just like, no, you want to do a live. You want to like really kind of feel it. I don't care if it is just like 10 people in the room with us or whatever. It's just something about having that live conversation and just kind of really feeling it with, yeah, it's
I
just being
agree.
true. Yeah,
It's so
there you
true.
go.
Yeah. Community.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we are going to get to you, and we're going to get all of your backstory in just a bit. But first of all, I'm going to see if I can center this because I told you I'll be like bobbing and weaving when I'm talking, and I don't just sit still like this. I bob and weave. So I'm trying to get this right and get that little paint chip back there that I messed up. But nobody would notice if I hadn't said anything, but it's bothering me. Anyways, so before we get started, as you come in, please do say hello. I am really, really honored that you came in, that you want to hang out and hear if I have anything intelligent or not so intelligent to say. But I'm glad that you're here and enjoying. And so, first of all, hey, Bayesian Alpha 4, Christine, how you doing? We are up late. Christine is also in Zaragoza. She is actually, I'm not gonna put all, well, a couple of days a week, we actually go walking. We just made this commitment recently. Yes. And so, yeah, we go walking because we're trying to be active, people and stay semi fit. And we were supposed to go walking on Friday morning. And some of the people in the neighborhood, you know what? I'll share this with you and what's going on with the world. I'll share in a few minutes. But anyways, Christine's my walking partner. Okay. Okay. So with that, I do have a few questions that I like to ask to see how everybody's doing, gauging what's been making you happy, what's been going on in your world. So please do share if you can. What's going on in your world?
Yeah, there is a lot happening all of the time, but what I'm mainly focused on is my want to live abroad, similar to yourself.
Hmm.
And I am in the process of like working and figuring out what visa I want to apply for, making sure that I have everything aligned in my apartment and things for the move, and
Hmm.
hoping to move to Colombia next year in February.
Okay. All right. Hey. And so, but it's a work in progress. Um, that you've been making the steps. You're taking the step. I mean, you've been taking some steps. I know. Okay. You've been doing some things. I see your post.
Yeah. Yeah. We're doing some things currently.
So, okay, well, that's good. We're going to get into that in a few. What's going on in my world? Immediate. It's well, as I was saying, I usually go walking with Christina on certain days, and last Friday we were supposed to go. Again, we just started this. Very proud of ourselves, and I was supposed to go last Friday, but I met a local on Thursday, and when I just stopped and went somewhere for lunch at the little local cafe bar that's right down the street, and I was like, I'm just gonna go there. I've been running around. I don't feel like cooking anything, so I go. And this lady starts talking to me in Spanish like we're old friends. And finally, because the staff it's a little place, like maybe two of the staff were there. And I'm like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, hmm. Finally, I had to tell her, no entiendo. I don't know what you're saying to me. So, but but with that, she was like, "Oh, okay." And so she has very, very bad broken English, and I have very, very bad broken Spanish, and we totally clicked. So
Wow.
she was like, "You seem fun. I'm going out with friends later on." Now she's like my age, in her 50s, and she's going out with friends later on. So you should come. I was like, "Okay, I will." Yeah. I said, "Oh, what time?" 9:30. Girl, it you're my age. Shouldn't you we should be going out earlier. I went back home because of course I was like, oh, okay, okay. And then I came home and I think I took some pictures of me like leaning back in this chair going like, oh, oh, just the anyways, my age, older, whatever, they go out late at night here, period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. So, anyways, I
Mm.
went out. I had a wonderful
Okay.
time.
Good
I did meet,
job.
yeah, I did meet like there had to been about a good 15 people that I met, and that most of them do not speak English at all. And
Wow.
I had a wonderful time. I was so welcomed.
I'm
Yeah.
glad.
So all that to say is that, and I think I had like one drink, but it was the fact of being out late. So that morning, that Friday morning, I text Bayesian Alpha. And I was like, I ain't going walking this morning. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm tired. Okay.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
fair. I'm glad you had a good time.
Yes. So yeah, that's what's going on in my world. Just saying yes sometimes. I'm the type that, again, I can make multiple plans and then be like, I don't feel like doing that. Okay. So, but just saying yes to this idea of being in a situation where uh, I mean, nobody spoke English, and their point of reference to make me feel comfortable was like, oh, I know an American song. Start spreading some news. Frank Sinatra. This guy started singing Frank Sinatra to me. He's New York, New York. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you for making me feel comfortable by singing Frank
Frank
Sinatra.
Sinatra.
And then yeah, that's a whole other story. I'm not going to go all in there. I felt welcomed, but again, it was like a certain age range, and they felt like how they can relate to me was not like some TV show from back in the day. They're like, oh, because they've never, like, this group had never lived anywhere else. They grew up in
Um,
Zaragoza, and yeah, it was interesting. And again, I felt so welcome, and I will go hang out with them again. And
nice.
we'll probably break out some. I don't do karaoke, but let's do some show tunes. Okay, okay,
Get them show tunes.
yes, girl. Oh my goodness, yeah. Anyway, so the other question that I like to ask is, how are you locating your cozy? What have you done? Why is this not showing? Hold on. Save and show. There we go. Yeah. Okay. How are you locating your cozy? What have you done lately that is just about you, that has brought you joy, that has been something that made you just feel good in the moment?
Yeah, similar to you and your walking partner is walking. I tend to walk alone. I live in California right now. There are a lot of beaches around. And so sometimes I just want to be outside around the vegetation. I just want to sit by the water. It allows
Hmm.
me to process, think about the things of the day. And I don't walk too far, maybe about like 10, 15 minutes from where my apartment is, but just really taking that peace is like solace just to have a moment where I can just think to myself and I don't have to be connected to technology all the time
Hmm.
talking to other people. So that's what I really enjoy doing.
Yeah. It makes a difference when you can have that, just to be able to find that little bitty piece however
Exactly.
big or small, to be able to embrace it and enjoy it and value it. Because some people, we can just get up and be like, thank you, God. Okay, bye. I gotta go. I gotta go. But to really kind of sit in it for a minute, it feels good. I'm not one, although I did take some really cool pictures when I was in Madrid of me like sitting in somebody's terrace area, like I was like, doing some, on pose. But it's just that peace that you have. And the thing is this, I had something else that I was going to say, how I was locating my cozy. And you made me remember that pretty regularly now. I think was probably since I've been here, but especially now since I've, moved into this apartment, I literally wake up, and when I open the blinds, because they have like the shutter blinds where it's like blackout blinds. But I open the blinds and I literally stare out, and it's just, just a city, but I stare out and I actually say the words of gratitude, like, God, I can't believe I'm still here. Thank you. Thank you for this experience. Whatever I'm learning, whatever I'm going to go through today, thank you in advance. And that gives me a good feeling, because sometimes the day is screwed. I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
this was a horrible day. Was horrible. But I stop and give gratitude in advance anyways,
That's so
because
good.
I want to soak it in every morning. It's
Yeah.
like the day may be crappy, but right now let me just really embrace and honor where you're at or where I'm at and what I'm able to do.
That's
So,
wonderful. I love that.
so thank you. So yes, 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 yes. I'm gonna go in here in the comments when we get started. Let's go in the comments and give acknowledgments and say hello. First of all, let me just go say awkward black no man, we love a pose. Yeah, girl,
Hey.
I have not done the video for it yet, but I took some pictures. I have so much when I was in Madrid a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago. But yeah, at my Airbnb, this guy had this beautiful little terrace that was just for me. Like he couldn't even access it, and I was renting out a room. But it was just really cool because I took some pictures. I was in my shorts and I was sitting cross-legged and and stuff, and I was like, and I was like, take the picture, girl. Take the picture. Show thigh and all. It's fine. It's you. Enjoy it.
It is you. Let's go.
Show them thighs. It's okay.
Show show it.
Yes. And stuff. And it wasn't anything, because it's like people are like, oh, you were showing your thighs. All them sexy. No, they weren't sexy pictures, trust me. But it was a confident picture. They were very confident. And I love that.
We love the
I love
confidence.
it.
We love the confidence.
Work it. Hello, Erica Cox. Thank you for joining. So, yes, I'm happy that you're here to catch the live also. I really do appreciate it. Yes, bring it on in.
Hi,
Hello, Dr.
Linda.
Linda.
Hi,
How
Dr.
you doing,
Linda.
love? Thanks for joining. I do appreciate. Do appreciate. And so yes, and Alicia, how you doing? Thank you
Hey,
for
Alicia.
joining. I appreciate it. And so this is going to be pretty cool. Again, my goal is always to speak to Black women where they are right now.
Yes.
I don't want it to be about like, oh, I've already moved or I've already done things. It's like
Right.
wherever you are, that's where I want you to be to talk to us about what your experiences are.
Perfect.
Makes sense? Yes.
Yep.
So
I'm
with
ready.
that, Dr. Maya, please. Dr. Maya is doctor. I'm going to be calling her Maya, but okay. But please do tell us a little bit about yourself before
I
we
would
get
love
started.
to. Yes. So I am Dr. Maya. I have a doctorate in social work, and I am a person that loves to travel the world. When you say locating your cozy, that's really a big piece of that, is really traveling for me. I love seeing what's out there in the world. I love learning new cultures, tasting different types of food. I feel so at peace and at home when I am abroad. And so it's very important to me. I am a second language Spanish speaker. And as noted, I have traveled to 45 countries and looking forward to moving indefinitely next year. So, just a person that has kind of done all of the things related to education, obviously, and is ready to just be out there and just have a fantastic time abroad. And similar to what you mentioned, learn what there is to learn every single day. There's so much to learn. There's so much community to be built, and I'm just excited to have that opportunity again.
That's great. This is great. You know what? And she's been doing a lot. Okay, so I was like, wow. I had to double check with you on one thing because I was like, did you say you bungee jumped? She's like, yes, yes, I did. So
Yes.
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that.
Yes, this is true. And on my channel, Fly Like Me PhD on YouTube, if you want to see the video of me bungee jumping, it's in my African travels video, Fun Things to Do in Africa Part 2. So there's a real video. You can see it in real time where your girl did bungee jump. This is true.
So, and all of her links are in the description. I'm gonna also drop her links throughout the conversation. I'll drop her YouTube channel in the current live communication or comments. But everything is in the description also. But so okay, we want to talk about the focus is definitely this is about like traveling smart and living bold, but can you kind of go, let's backtrack a little bit and see how did you get started in this? What was your inspiration to be like, this is how I don't want to live and I see something greater and better opportunity if I kind of try to set some goals and live and do have different experiences. How did that come about?
This is a loaded question. I know you didn't expect for it to be, but it is. This question has so many layers.
Shoot.
So,
Shoot. Okay.
when I was in high school, the first time that I went abroad by myself was in Argentina. I studied abroad there. This is where they selected for me to go. I was with a program, American Field Study, that takes high school students abroad, and I lived with a family for an entire month. And that is when I was like, this is just incredible. I learned so much. I ate really good food. We were constantly moving and being active all the time. I felt a lot of community in terms of being there. And there was a moment actually, sadly, where I got sick in public and somebody called a taxi for us and paid for it and, helped me get into the taxi. And these are complete strangers. And I had thought back to the US and I was like, sometimes when I have those experiences, you could just be left there and you're like waiting for anyone
Mhm.
to come and help you out. And so that was what really changed it for me. I think being 16, young and impressionable, and seeing another place, I just could not unsee. And I thought, then I just have to be abroad. I have to continue doing this. And that's when I dedicated my life to learning the Spanish language too, because I wanted to be able to communicate with my host family. Because I was similar to you in the coffee shop where I was just like, I have no idea what you're saying for a whole month. I just have no idea.
Mhm.
And I hated that. Now, the part that is a little complicated is that in Argentina, I just felt like, oh my gosh, everybody wants to take pictures of me and everybody wants to talk to me and everybody's interested in me. But I did not know at the time about like fetishization or like exoticizing people. And I think that that's
Mhm.
actually what I experienced because there were virtually no Black people in the space unless they were selling things on the street. And
Mhm.
so that probably was something in my brain at 16 that I hadn't fully fleshed out, was that people could be excited about you, but it might not necessarily be about what you bring to the space or who you are as a person. And it's more about like what you look like. And so I took away from that experience, like there are places outside of the US where they're so interested in Black folks and they're excited to see us and we can feel more connected. But then learning about the history of what has happened to Black people in Argentina, where they have been forcibly moved or they have been even murdered because they didn't want to have a Black population, really changes that a lot for me now, knowing that
Mhm.
information.
Yeah. It's when I just posted the interview with my sister-in-law, she came here in October. to visit because we had a meet back in October last year and did the Black History Tour. And the thing is, we, especially, we're focused on what's going on in our country. So we don't really, until you actually learn or you're giving the information, you're not thinking about what the experiences of people, especially, your people, other Black people in other countries. And so she, with that tour, I mean, anybody that takes the tour, the Black History Tour in any other country, you're going to be, if the tour guide is good, you're going to be like shocked and awed and be pissed and all these things with that realization. But as you were speaking of and having your emotions with learning about the black history in Argentina, it gave you what kind of feelings or acknowledgement, even at your young age?
Yeah, exactly what you said. Once you go abroad and you're just like shocked and appalled of all the things that have happened to Black people diasporically, it actually really hurt my heart. I am side eyeing Argentina. Like, the more I learn, the more upset I get, because also they have, in their history, they were not trying to have Black people immigrate to the space, and they were giving discounted visas, or half off this, half off that, to encourage Europeans to be in the space so that it could become more of a white nation. And it's just extremely harmful. It's not okay. And so yeah, we have some things to work through, me and my experience with Argentina, for sure.
Hmm. Hmm. Yes. I had somebody come on my one of my other, like, you have the trolls that want to come in and talk about why you want to go to live in a country and stuff where it's a colonizer and they hate you. It's like, if I wait to go someplace where it has not been colonized, where maybe some part of the society might not like me, I ain't going nowhere.
You
I
ain't
wouldn't
going
even be in the
nowhere.
U.S.
Exactly. Don't forget what has happened here, slash is continuing to happen to people.
So yeah, that person tried to come stuff, and at the time when the person was posting, I was like, I feel like arguing today. Let's argue with you. But
Wow.
I was like, so as I'm sitting up here chilling and having a good time, let's talk about your dumbness. But I I said, okay, girl, now you've done enough. Stop and let that go. But because it's like, if they have that thought process, um, that's on them, and they can
That's
go
all
spread
them.
that stuff on their channel, but you're not going to do it on mine. My goal is to, one, talk to other women, Black women, that you know have a want, a need, to make the change and to understand and hear the stories and come into knowledge,
Yeah,
whether you're coming into the knowledge of history that you didn't know about or opportunities that you didn't know about.
exactly.
That's how we share.
Exactly.
I said, okay, okay. So before we go further down, family, what did they think? Because it's like, do
Family.
tell. Okay, what was family's reaction like? Maybe when you first went for the month-long thing for the host family, and then like you came back and it's like, so now I've had a taste. I really got to go.
Yeah. Oh, family. This one is always a big one. So, coming from a Black family, right, there is community. I think that we have the expectation of like being close to each other, needing each other to survive, needing each other to support one another. If kind of how I talked to you about, like, you're just waiting for somebody to help you, the family more than likely will jump in and be there for you when something has happened to you, when you need someone. On the flip side, though, I do think that sometimes the family can stifle one from what they want to do unintentionally. I don't think that that is the family's plan. I think that they want to have you near, want to build community to you, care about you, love you. But sometimes it can cause it to be hard to be out there doing what you want. So, with my particular family, it was like, okay, she's going to Argentina. This is fantastic. She's going to be back in a month. No worries. We will see her. And then when I came back, and then I was like, I got to go back and I got to go study here and I got to go live there. Then it was like, what is happening? And what do these places, how do they have this hold on, our family member? And so we have gone through a lot. There were points in time when people were like, this was just a travel bug and she'll get over it eventually and then she'll be here all the time. There were points where they had to kind of, I guess, tell a story to themselves about the reason that I was going abroad. Oh, she's just going to work. Oh, she's just going to volunteer. Oh, she's just going to study. And then now I think they're just like, all right, so where are you headed next and how long will you be gone?
They've just come to acceptance. It's like, this is our baby. She's the one that takes off,
Yeah.
and we'll see her. It's like she checks in. Thank goodness for technology. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Because that could be a whole conversation. Actually, it's good that you brought that up because when I was 16, there was nothing. There was no
Hmm.
Facebook. There was no like we out here text messaging. Like it was not a thing. We had to go old school with email, and I didn't have like a laptop. So I had to use my host family's computer, but I didn't want to always be bothering them to use their computer. So it would be one message a week. It was not
Hmm.
like how we can easily see a person within seconds now. So technology has made travel, I think, a lot easier on family to be able to call you, to be able to see you.
Yeah.
When back in the day, that was not a thing. No.
Okay, okay. And I just think back because my youngest daughter, she had wanted to go. It was the same thing. It was a program when she was in high school that she wanted to go to this, this village or whatever. And I saw it. I mean, I did see it for what it was. It was a great opportunity, but the demands and the prep that was needed, like it was like 3, 4, 6 months beforehand. You had to go to the different classes. They were across town, and I was in Houston.
Wow.
Single mother. It was just all the prep that was needed before you go. I didn't have the resources as a single mother to like get her across town 3 days a week to get ready for this class, and you still have to pay for yourself to get there, pay for your child. Yeah, so it was all that stuff. So I mean,
Wow.
she still, yeah. As soon as she was in college, I mean, she's been all over. Yeah, she went to Cuba with her college and all this. Yeah, so
Nice. Nice.
yeah, so I get that. Um, do you have maybe some nieces, siblings, or anybody that the younger versions that are like, I'm following in
Oh.
pretty much Maya's footsteps.
Oh my God. Yeah, so my sister, she actually went abroad to Cuba through her university. And after that, she was like, I understand why Maya goes abroad all the time, and I want to be on whatever trip she goes on. So I've taken my sister to Colombia with me, and then we went back to
Okay.
Cuba because I had never been. And so she and I went there together. And yeah, I think my sister really enjoys being abroad and wants to continue travel. She's like, there's
Talk the
something
bug.
here. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Wow. Well, that's good. That's pretty cool when I think about, it's like we've made the steps, but also to encourage others that
Others,
yes, you can too. Yeah.
you can
So
too.
ladies, if you have, or ladies or gentlemen, people in the audience, I know again, catch the replay, enjoy the live now. If you have questions, put a Q in front of there and stuff. We want some interactive conversation as we move forward. So,
Absolutely.
you visited 45 countries.
Yes.
And you lived in six of them. So, in the six that you lived in, which one did you live in the longest and quote the shortest living?
Yeah. So Argentina is going to be the shortest. I lived there for a month. And then
Okay.
Colombia is going to be the longest. I lived there for a year. I was just living there in 2022.
Okay. Okay. And so, with the 45 countries overall, which one did you enjoy? I mean, I know you lived in Colombia for a while, but which country did you enjoy the least, or did you get the most out of, as far as living insight, customs, culture, all that?
Yeah. I would say in terms of a country, a place that I have a little difficulty with, it's going to be China for me.
Okay.
China, very homogenous place, as you know, and I think are not used to seeing Black people. And so sometimes to me, it felt like a zoo animal, always
Mm,
taking pictures, didn't ask me for consent, touching my
I've
hair
heard that
without
several
consent.
times.
And
Yeah.
I don't like that. I think that is rude and disrespectful. So I also have to work through some things with China because yeah, I
Mhm.
felt other to a degree that I didn't like. And one person told me that she just stayed in the house for a whole day because she got tired of people touching her hair, taking pictures of her, pointing at her. I think it's a lot
Yeah.
sometimes.
Oh, wow, yeah. I've heard that so many times about China. It's like, okay, yeah, I just can't imagine. And then I think about how with the Exodus Summit, I know that they were not in China, but the Exodus Summit women, the 80 of them that like landed in, in Asia and were in Vietnam and all that. And I was like,
Yes. What's going on? What's going on there? Yeah.
I'm sure that, well, I can only speak from my non-experience, but I'm sure that, they didn't have like people like literally coming up and touching them there because it was so many versus like
Right.
if you're by yourself and if it's just you and maybe another Black person, they're like, "Oh, let's go see what they feel like." It's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've told this story before, and I don't know what her ethnicity. I know that she was of some part Asian. Um, 2023, we had the Melon in Madrid had a big picnic in the park, in Botero Park in Madrid. We had such a good time. It was wonderful. We had line dancing. It was so cool. We were supposed to do it this year. And then weather was like, no, we're going to rain you out. Anyways, we were having a good time. We were line dancing. Line dance song goes off. We're sitting down chatting. Asian woman walks up and just starts filming us. Okay, we weren't dancing. We were just sitting down, and so and I think I don't know. I don't know if she was filming or if she was on the phone. I want to say she was on the phone because I heard somebody tell her something, and that's when she finally stopped. Because we were looking at her like, "What are you
What
doing?"
is going on? Yeah.
It's like we are clearly just having conversation and sitting down, and you're like, "Oh," like showing somebody like, "Look, there's so many of them."
You're not
Yeah.
wrong.
So
You're not
when
wrong.
I guess the other person that she was talking to had a clues with that was, he was getting the clues like they're looking like they want to beat your ass. Stop looking.
Stop
So
it
finally
now.
she was like, finally she closed her phone and walked away because like, some people had when we were dancing, there were some people that were like, taking, footage of us dancing. I get that. Us sitting down chatting, it's like, what? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Anyways,
No, I'm
I'm
with
gonna
you. It's
let that
okay.
go. Yeah.
You feel your feelings, okay? They are valid because it'd be a lot. And then I wanted to answer your other question. A place that
Mhm.
I felt the best or I felt really, really good was in Barbados. I think that in terms of like a peaceful place, it just was like
Mhm.
very calming and very, very beautiful. The water, oh my gosh, we were in the water. We were like doing like snorkeling. That was like my first time doing that. And it was just a very like breathtaking place to be in. And I also
Mhm.
love places where I could see a lot of Black people and feel connected. So, yeah.
Beijing Alpha's from, Barbados, so I was waiting for her to, like, type
Really?
in there. That's
Oh
right,
my
yeah.
gosh, let us know.
And so that's where you felt your best and you had the best experience?
I felt
Of
at
I mean, of
peace.
many, yeah. Yeah, peace.
Yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful. Wow. Your first okay, so your first international trip was Argentina, but you had staff and guidance with that, correct? Like
Yes. So, yeah,
okay,
I was in high school, so I went on a program, and the program got my housing, and they also made sure that I got to school every day, and, I also was volunteering and playing soccer with, students from the school, and so,
okay,
yeah, the program did all of that. I didn't do any of that, and that was, yeah, in high school.
okay. And the living was being out of the country for the first time as a teenager, what was like the most shocking there, like the adjustment of being in the host family's home?
Yes. Okay. This is good. This is wild. Okay. So think
Okay.
about it. We're day two. Day two. Um, my host mom had asked me, like, did you have any clothes that you needed us to wash? And I was like, yeah, it was some stuff that I had like worn in the airport and stuff, or had been in those clothes for a long time. Cause it took me a long, long time to get to maybe a day to get to where I lived in Argentina because it was like up north and we landed in the capital. So it took like 16 hours to get there. And so, yeah, I just had a bunch of clothes that were like, yeah, I've been in these for a while. So you could take these. So I remember we wake up and we're about to eat breakfast. And I look outside and I can see my undergarments on a line right in front of me. And I'm just like,
Girl, that's nothing. What? Okay, but for
what?
you
Yeah,
were like,
at
what the
16, I was just mortified. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's with the whole family. So I'm like, everybody can see all my clothes on the line. It just felt, I was unprepared. I was unprepared. And we're eating breakfast right in front of the clothes. I was just
Yeah. For somebody
like,
that didn't know, it's
I
like,
had no
yeah.
idea. I
Yeah,
had
if you
no
didn't grow up
idea.
in the country and go visit, I used to go visit family in the country when I was a kid. I was a city kid, but I used to go visit people in the country. Yeah, so I remember
Yeah,
having to pin up the clothes outside.
unprepared.
Wow. Okay,
Yes.
but you took a lot away from that first experience that made you want to say, I'm ready to go on. What's my next journey?
Yeah, even though that was the case, now I think about it like minimizing,
Hmm.
specifically and not having a dryer. Also, I noticed they didn't have like a huge trash can. Like I was used to having a humongous trash can in the US, but I think it's because we have a lot of fast food, we have a lot of frozen food. So they're like all these containers need to go somewhere. But there they have like a small trash can that you would just have in a bathroom. And that was the trash can in the kitchen. I was like,
Hmm.
wow, why is this trash can so small? But it was because they were like cooking the things or they were, eating fruits and vegetables. Like we ate most of the stuff. It wasn't stuff like in containers and boxes like that at
Yeah.
all. And so they
Consumption is
also,
different. Yeah.
consumption is different. They also bought things like what you would need to eat at the time rather than like
Hmm.
stacking 50 cans in the cupboard or having food for 6 months. It was like just what we needed for that week, so the
Hmm.
trash just didn't accumulate at the way that it did when I was in the US. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think about here they just opened up a Costco here in
Okay.
Zaragoza. And I was like, oh my God, Costco. Yes. And I had to, and the membership, I think right now was like 30 euro, which came out to maybe 38 USD, I think. Anyways, the thing was, I was in the Costco and I got a few things and I was like, oh, yes, Costco. And then I realized, like, some things I was like, "Girl, you could have just gone. It's just you. It's just me."
It's
I was like,
just
"Girl, you
me.
could have just gone to the store and gotten the same thing and not had like a whole, 6-month supply." Okay?
Yeah. You
Because
right.
it's just me, myself, and me. I mean, I have family and friends come over sometimes, but overall, it was just like you don't need to have a fridge just because you have a nice size fridge or you have space. You don't need to have it completely stocked up and getting out of that mentality
Good
of
point.
which I was used to in the States. So yeah. Mhm.
That's a good point.
Okay, so how did you come about coming to Spain?
Yes. Okay. So I studied abroad in Spain when I was in undergrad.
Okay.
So I went there my junior year and I went through a program again. And this time I was studying. I lived in Sevilla and I
Mhm.
studied at the university there. And I lived there for about 4 months.
Okay. And what was that like? How was all of that?
It was incredible. It was so incredible. I loved, loved, loved living in Spain. I was like, I wish I had chosen to be here for an entire year. It was just so great. And I know what you said about some people saying that, these are places, the home of the colonizers, which we can all
Mhm.
admit based on how many countries speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
But I think that there is something about understanding the history of a place that you choose to live in and not forgetting that or negating that as a thing. Like, you can have multiple experience. You can understand the limitations of a space, but you can still live there, like you said,
Hmm.
similar to living in the US. And so I very much learned about that. I very much learned about all of the places that had been colonized by the Spanish. I had learned of the destruction that was caused across the world while also living there and still having a good experience. So I don't think they can
Yes,
be mutually exclusive, right? You could still have a good experience in the midst of understanding,
two
you
things
know,
can be true.
that
Three
these
things
things
can
can
be
be
true.
true.
Okay. I
And
can be happy,
you can be
okay,
happy,
and live my best life
live that best
in
life.
the place where the history is I'll say precarious to say the least.
Yeah,
But the history that 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 did damage to our ancestors, to other minorities, just overall. Yes, there's history all over the world. That history does not mean that I should not be able to go and embrace and learn and
exactly.
appreciate the opportunity to live different. Yeah,
Exactly. I could
can't
not
make
agree
me
with
do
you more, right? And
it.
it was just fantastic. Like, I felt that my Spanish really improved while I was there, obviously for 4 months. And being in the university really helped too. I had assignments that I had to turn in. I had a class that was really, really difficult, y'all. I got to see out that class. It's the best that I could do in Spanish with that class. I was learning geography.
I'm sorry, because I was
Yeah,
just
no, it's
curious, because
okay.
I'm like, when people come here to go to university, because the classes are in the language, how do you do that?
It was so hard. It was so hard. I was like, I don't feel like I have enough Spanish to be in this class, which is why I got that grade. But I was like, it's okay because I'm gonna stick it out. I'm gonna do my best. So I had some
Okay.
study groups. The people on my program, there was about like 30 of us that had all gone to study abroad together. We had a program center that we used to go to. We would get like tutoring from some professors that were there too. So we just were like helping each other out. In that one
Okay.
difficult class, like there was nothing a professor could do. We actually took a class that was like above the level that we were
Mhm.
at, like our speaking level. So it was just nothing we could do. And we had realized way too late because they were like, you could take whatever class you want. And so we were already way too late in terms of being able to leave that class. So yeah, we just stuck it out. We got what we got and we moved on. But I learned a lot there, a lot about culture too. They took us to various cities I had told you before within Spain.
Mhm.
So I got like experience of being in like Granada. I had been in Madrid. A lot of experience in being in Cadiz. Is it Cadiz?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Caribe. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to see a bunch of cities, and I loved it. It was so much culture. We were in Barcelona. It was just fantastic to be able to see so many different places. And this was the first time I was able to go to an African country. I went to Morocco. I took a
Mhm.
ferry to get there because I was in Seville.
Right
So
off Gibraltar.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was able to go there. It was just a wonderful experience. I learned a lot about myself too. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm actually, because I have a pet sit coming up at the end of May into
Okay.
June in Valencia, and I'm looking because I'm like, okay, how do I maybe secure some other pet sits, or maybe just go further down so I can like hop back over to Morocco, and so because I really enjoyed Morocco. I was in Rabat for like a week doing a pet sit, so yeah, that was
Nice.
like back in 2023. But yeah, so yeah, okay, so you bopped. So during this time, was it like during the university time, were you um having to pay, or did you get some kind of stipend or scholarship or something like that that allowed you to be comfortable here, or just the cost was just like this, it wasn't that much?
Oh gosh, it was a lot. Oh
Okay.
my god, I wish.
Like
I wish I was like euros. They will always do us wrong. The euro, yeah. I was like, "Oh my gosh." The cost was costing. It was costing, but
Okay.
I got a scholarship to go, and then I also paid, my family helped to pay for the other half.
Okay.
And yeah, we didn't really have many expenses when we were there because we already had our host family that was included in our
Okay.
program expense. And then we were able to, I don't know if this is still a thing in Spain, but we took bikes around. They had like
Mhm.
bikes on the that you could rent to take around. We were able to
Yeah.
walk a lot of the places because we were like in the center of the area, so
Yeah.
we didn't have to pay for a lot for transportation and stuff. We were fed from the host family every single day. We only paid for meals that were outside of that. It was really when we went shopping for like clothing that's when we
That's what
started
took
to
you
notice
down.
it. It was like, "Oh, that's how much it want for that dress." Got it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not inexpensive. Yeah. Yeah, don't come here. There's certain things that yes, they are more affordable. Um, clothes? No, not really. Okay. And especially for all this, yeah,
All of
they're
that.
like, yeah, they're like, no, they still. I will say this about the clothing in Spain, as far as I see, for anyone that is not a size stick, um, they assume that I'm supposed to be dressed still in like some like unappealing moo whatever, like just very like conservative, and that ain't me.
That
So
is not
yeah, I've had
true.
to seek other alternatives to make sure that I still say stay somewhat fashionable.
Yeah, you look great. Yes, I
Thank
see the
you.
fashion is fashioning. Let's go.
So you were here. So you were just in Spain for 4 months,
Yes.
and then have you come back since then, or have you been
I
back?
have not come back since then.
Okay.
No. No.
Okay. So some of the other
No.
places that you have gone, how did this start? Um, when you were like, okay, and now I need to check out other parts of the world. How did that start? Were you working at the time, or were you able to take different times off?
Yeah, so it was a slow build up. So like first Argentina was the inception, and then
Hmm.
when I lived in Spain, uh at the time that I was at the university, then that also was reinforcing it. And then at that point I was like, I really want to know this language. So I need to go back abroad because that is the time I'm able to really be immersed and I can learn way quicker than I can if I'm in the US. And so after I graduated from undergrad, I lived in the Dominican Republic for 6 months.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, every time I just got a little closer, a little closer, a little closer to learning the language and to like being really good at the language. And then I would go on to live in Costa Rica after that. And so then at some point, I just decided I was like, I want to go to a different country every single year, just one. If I could just go to one, that would be
Okay.
great. And when I've gone with other people, sometimes they're like, why don't we just do a few? You know, these countries, like if you're in Europe, there are so many surrounding the one particular country. Or when we were in Asia, we were able to go from Thailand to Singapore to Malaysia. And so what we were able to do was we could take like a bus ride or you could take a plane. It's just like much easier to get to places once you have already left the US and you're in that country.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
I started to go to like 3 countries when I was just visiting one. Then I would go and hop over to 2 more.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you've been doing this like every year, basically, for like how many years now?
Yeah, maybe like 10 years.
Okay, okay. So you've perfected the technique. You've perfected these things. So, okay,
I
she
try.
knows what she's talking about. Okay.
I try. Y'all, there are still mistakes. You know about that Ghana visa. There are
Okay.
still mistakes. Y'all, I almost thought I was a go to Ghana. Oh my goodness. There are still
Please do
mistakes.
tell. Please, yes, we've heard about the Ghana visas, but please do share. What was your experience?
Okay, so the Ghana visa pretty much is a very complicated process. This is on the part of people that are from Ghana to the part of people that are not from Ghana. Everybody, there's unanimous understanding that their visa process is a little complicated. You have to upload documentation online, and then you also have to send that documentation to the Ghana consulate office if you are from the US. The thing is that they want you to have a prepaid envelope to send back information for some consulate offices, or they want you to send a label for them to send back your passport for other ones. And if you get that confused, if you do that step wrong, that can hold up your visa for a while. And that's what happened to me, is that I did not send the label to them in order to send back the visa. I just sent my documentation, and my visa got held up for like weeks. And I just had the thought that I wasn't even going to be able to go. And it was up until the final moment that I finally got it. I was able to contact them. They told me the label to send, and I did the label overnight at FedEx so I could get the visa and the passport as soon as possible. But the main thing that needs to be learned if you're going to go to Ghana is read all the information, contact and talk to them before you submit anything, and leave at least a month in advance between going to Ghana and doing the documentation, just in case the visa does get held up, then you have time to get it back. And the number one thing that they said on the website that I didn't listen to, so this is a piece that's my fault, is to not book your ticket before you get your visa.
I was just about to ask you that. Yeah. Because I've heard that before. It's like, so did you already have your ticket? You already had your ticket.
Already have my ticket.
Yeah.
And the thing too, is that some countries require you to have your ticket before you can get the visa, because they want to see when you're entering and when you're exiting. So that's why I had already bought it. You know, this is what I'm saying. Like, you have all of these experiences in countries, and you think that's going to inform you for something else, but it's like the rules could be different for another country. So like, some of them do want you to have the ticket first, so they can see them when you're going to enter the country, when you're going to exit. But Ghana specifically says you do not have to have the ticket before, and they encourage you to get the visa before you get the ticket.
And how long did it take you to get the visa after all that, after everything was said and done?
It was about 2 weeks before I got it back, but it was seemingly like I wasn't going to get it back at all.
Yeah, especially since you had that plane ticket says like, I got to go. Okay. And Ghana was like, maybe not.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely
Wow.
right.
And how long were you there?
I was in Ghana for a week, and I went to
Okay.
Nigeria a week before that, but I went on a Black travel group. And so they helped us do the visa process, and we got the visa on arrival when we went to Nigeria. That's another thing I want to say, about Ghana, is that you can get a visa on arrival. They do those in December, and you wouldn't have to go through that entire process. So a lot of people would just go in December.
Okay, I've heard about that too. Yes, and I think I have. I'm not going to say who it is. I think I have some family that's doing that.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I have some family
Nice.
that's doing that this year, because one of their friends is actually from Ghana,
Okay.
and so so she's like, "Oh no, my friend is handling all that stuff." I'm like, "Okay, okay, okay." Because even though we both on we're not on the U.S. continent, it's not like I can't come get you. Okay,
Right.
if they kick you out and say you can't come in, you just gonna have to make that 20-hour flight over here to Spain, or go back to the States.
Exactly. Exactly. You're right.
Wow. So of all the countries, so you've been doing this one country, and you've been doing this experience once a year for the past 10 years. Were you doing any pet sitting? Had that come into the realm yet? When did you first learn about the pet sitting part that might lower cost?
Yeah, so I have never done pet sitting before. I
Okay.
learned from others about pet sitting, and I just learned about that maybe a year or two ago. Like you said,
Okay.
with Exodus Summit, I learned a lot about it from there, and I would love to do something like that in the future. So it's definitely something that I'm thinking about. But what I mainly did was, as I had mentioned to you, I went on programs when I went
Mhm.
abroad a lot of times, and that's how I was able to get it funded. Or I was volunteering through a program, or I was working, or I was a student. So that was a lot of the trips that I took allowed me to do that. And then if I wasn't on one of those, then I would save my money throughout the year. And there have been people that I know that will just save for one big trip. So they save the whole year to go on this one amazing trip. So that could also be a thing if people are interested in going somewhere.
Okay. So did you do like programs like, and correct me, but did you do programs like what, Workaway or things like that? Because I've
Yeah,
heard about those
so
type of programs.
yeah, you're right. So on idealist.org, they will have positions and opportunities abroad where you can work abroad. And in addition to having jobs in the US too. So I have gotten a
Mhm.
job from idealist.org in the US, as well as is how I got my position that I was doing in the Dominican Republic, where I was working in an orphanage. So they have opportunities for you to do things. Also, if you talk to people that you already know that are abroad, sometimes they can let you know about things. So, like when I was in Colombia, they told me about a teaching experience where they were looking for English speakers to teach
Okay.
Colombians. And so that's how I learned about that. So there's definitely a lot that is out there, and talking to other expats in Facebook groups could be really helpful to learn positions that you can do abroad as well. And but the number one thing is going to be, but this is dependent on what you're interested in, is to go to the country, because when you're there, then you get the insider information about things in
Mhm.
real time that maybe they're not posting.
Yeah. Yeah. Because even with just with me pet sitting, it's easier to get some pet sits in another country when they know that you're already there.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and again, I'm not saying like pet sitting, this is not for everybody, but just like through the different avenues of saving money and not having to pay for lodging, I have definitely utilized it. But it seems like now that I'm in Spain, they're like, "Oh, you can come on over."
Nice.
Okay. So I don't know
Nice.
if it works the same way for like if you're looking for some kind of like programs or um teaching possibilities. When you're here, they're more open?
Yeah, I just think that when you're there, you can network with people in real time. They can see you. They're probably more open to have conversations. They know that
Yeah,
you're probably serious because you're there. And some jobs people just don't post online. It's like word of mouth, or they talk to the people that they already know. And so we miss out on a lot of opportunities by only looking online. But if we're in
true.
person, we can learn about a lot more. And the locals will know so much too. They can tell you about opportunities as well.
Yeah. And sometimes just the whole platform, maybe the online platform is not being utilized or being managed the way that it needs to be in order for you to have the most up-to-date information. I say this on topic, off topic, because I've been trying to set a doctor's appointment for two specific doctor's appointments. And I'm like, okay, just accept the fact that they're not going to be speaking English. You just need to go get these, you need to go to these two specialists to get some things checked out. I was online and they're like, oh yeah, they had like two or three different websites and all this stuff for you to, they're like, no, you can't set an appointment online. It's like, nope, we're not even going to show you the calendar. Like, but this is the platform that you're seeing used. I had to come and accept the fact that tomorrow morning I have to get myself up and I'm gonna have to walk over to that hospital or to that medical facility and talk to the receptionist in my bad Spanish and say I need an appointment for this and this and get the appointment that way.
Yeah,
Because the bottom line, the in person in a lot of countries works so much better
it
than
does.
just making a phone call or try to do some things. Not saying it's not third world life, it's not like that, but it's just how the bureaucracy tends to work sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so during like what is something else that's something that maybe either in the shortest or longest stays, something that you picked up on and you're like, I now know how to run the world because of this tidbit of information?
Oh my god, from the world. You
Yes.
know, okay, so I told you about little baby Maya who was in Argentina, and I was like, "I have no idea what you're saying. I Why
Mhm,
are you even looking at me for this conversation?" But I was recently in El Salvador, maybe like 2 years ago, and I
mhm.
went and did a solo trip by myself, y'all. I was out there, and I sat there and I thought to myself, "Look at how far you have come. I am in awe of you. I am so impressed because there was one moment where you could not even speak to people, and now you're out here navigating the country by yourself, completely in Spanish every single day, get into places, talking to taxi drivers, being on tours, being the only person, being the only Black person out here." And I was like, you have grown so much. I was so proud of myself in that moment. So definitely learning language has been a phenomenal piece for me of being able to navigate some things. I'm really, really, really proud of myself of all the things. I know it's impressive
Yeah.
to like go to 45 countries, but for me, the most impressive thing was like staying committed to learning language.
Wow, yeah. And pat yourself on the back. Girl, yeah, even there, because I know there's times when I have literally, like, this weekend, that I went and sat down when that lady introduced me to these 15 people that didn't speak Spanish. I mean, didn't speak English, and I was like, what's happening here? Why? I was like, you gonna sit here and enjoy this. Um, those little things, pat yourself on the back that you are immersing yourself in a situation and you're learning. The biggest thing that I hear people saying is like, I can't speak the language. I can't go there. I can't speak the language. Mhm. Okay. The things that you figure out and the grace that you are tend to be given by the community, the locals here, is just so. It gives you this sense of pride of something that you never thought you could overcome. And yeah, so I get it, girl. I
I
get it.
agree with you. And I want you to know I was on that tip too. At first, I only went to Spanish speaking countries for a while there. And I was like, I don't want to go to any other country where I can't speak the language. And I finally pushed myself to go somewhere where I didn't speak the language. And that's how I ended up in Asia. And you're right. Like the grace that we were given in Thailand, like how kind people were in Malaysia, how understanding people were in Singapore. It was a huge thing. Yeah. People were so open to,
Mhm.
talking to us and trying to help us along the way. So, I agree with you about that. That should not be a
Yes.
limitation.
Yes, so just keep your mind open. As long as you're not walking around, you gotta kinda kick that chip off your shoulder. Kick that chip off, kick that American chip off your shoulder. It says, "They're not gonna help me. They gonna have" no, don't create the narrative that you have not experienced yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, when traveling, which do you think that you've done more on buses, on trains, on, hopping on some airlines, renting cars, hitchhiking? Don't do that. What? Don't do that. Okay. Don't care how safe it is. Anyways,
Don't
so
worry,
what has
never
been
done it. Never done it.
your modes of transportation that have been the best experience or maybe the hardest experience?
Yeah, so leaving the US to go to another country, always flying. I don't think I've ever been out. Okay, wait, no. On a cruise. On a
Okay.
cruise. Okay, I did leave Miami, Florida to get to Jamaica on a cruise. Yeah, so that's about the
Okay.
only time that it has been on boat. But yeah, I would say the most common was flying. And then when I've been in the country, I think it's very common to take the bus. I've taken the bus a lot of times while I was in
Okay.
country to be able to go from one place to another. And I would say like bus is really good. Bus is very affordable. It still gets you there. It obviously will take longer, but I think it's very convenient. Also taking a train. taking a train when you're in country,
I love
very
trains.
nice. I would say both
Yeah.
of those for sure have been really good experiences for me.
So since I've accepted this pet sit in Valencia, okay, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm right in between where I live. It's like right in between Barcelona and Madrid. So I'm
Okay.
like, okay. I'm like, instead of, because I go to Madrid all the time and I'm so thankful and I love Madrid, but I wanted to go another way. So I'm looking at the train thing and it's like, well, I can go to Barcelona or maybe take a train directly to Toronto. I yeah. Anyways, that will take me down to Valencia, and I'm all excited, except for there's no train that goes. Okay, there's a bus that goes from Barcelona to Toronto to Valencia, like going down the coast.
Oh,
And I thought maybe there was a train. It's like no, everything you have to go into Madrid, and then Madrid will take you to Valencia. And so I'm considering. I was like, well, maybe you'll just go out and take a bus. And then I don't know how patient I am. I'm like, because it said 13 hours. I'm like, do I want to be on a
yeah.
bus for 13 hours?
Yep.
Or can I just go ahead and take that train to Madrid and then take yeah. The train is just not the route. It's just a different route and everything. Because I'm yeah. Anyways, all that to say, I'm trying to get myself into maybe taking the bus because in October
Okay.
Black Say Global is having their big 5-year anniversary. I
Uh-huh.
want to be there, and I've been thinking about there's a bus that goes from. They said it was a train. It's not a train. It's a bus that goes from Madrid to Porto, and then you could take a train down to Lisbon.
You gotta go. You have to go.
No, I'm like, I'm gonna be on that bus. Like, man, I should have taken that dang train, or I should have just went ahead and got on the plane, because the
The
plane,
plane.
you just get in and out. You like, I'm
In and
here.
out. In and out with them planes. You're right.
Yeah. So I'm decisions. But so for you, you really enjoyed the like taking the buses. I want to see the views.
Yeah, the views are nice. You get to because you'll see things that you would not have seen if you took the plane. Yeah, the view is really nice.
And she says, you have to go. You're so
So
close.
close.
Go.
Exactly. Go for us, please. Let us know how it
Ah.
goes.
Something like it. Because I know I do want to take like maybe at the end of the year I do want to go to France, and I know I'll be taking somebody's train to get there, or to Germany. Those are the two places that I really want to go: France and Germany,
Yeah,
to go
do
check it
it.
because I was born in Germany. Yeah, so I gotta
Okay.
take the ride up. So, okay, well, did have you driven in any of the other countries?
No, no. This comes
She's like,
from
hell no.
yeah, this comes from being 16. They were like, you absolutely cannot drive. They were like made it very clear we were not doing that. And that has been in my head ever since. I'm always like, absolutely not. I have not. Have you?
No, mm-mm,
Okay.
mm-mm. So I have not, because like the day that I moved to Spain, the day before I sold my car. I was like, no
Mm,
more car payments. I don't want a car payment. I don't want to have to pay car insurance. None of that. And then when I went to, I did a 2 month pet sit. I did 2 months in Mexico before I moved here. And no, I was walking everywhere, figured out how to get on the bus if necessary. Basically, I was walking or taking an Uber in Mexico. Anyways, I caused an accident when I was in Mexico City, and that scarred me. I caused a bike accident because as I was leaving to go get in my Uber and I was taking my luggage to meet the Uber, I stepped into the middle of the bike lane. So here am I walking. Here's the bike lane, and here's the Uber that was waiting for me. And I just stepped. I was like, I'll just bring my luggage over to the Uber. And all of a sudden, I heard people yelling, and I had two people crash into the back of the Uber that was parked. Two people. Yeah, I was scarred. So yeah, I
dang.
yes.
I'm sorry that happened.
Now, not to say, I mean, yeah, it was horrible. I was okay. The one guy that yelled and cursed me out in Spanish every which way, but I was also amazed because it was my fault, but I was also amazed that how many people came to my defense and told that guy to shut up and leave me alone. They were, in Spanish, they were like, leave her alone. It was an accident. And I was like, yeah, I said, I ain't driving in. I'm not
Yeah,
driving. I'm
same.
scared to walk across the street sometimes, like in Mexico.
Yeah,
I got
that's
to do
fair.
the long way around
That is so fair.
and stuff. But I interviewed Cece, I believe it was, who had her residency in Portugal, and now she lives in Sevilla, and she had to drive back up to Portugal to start her residency process for Spain, and she was saying how she just got to rent a car. People, just get a rental car and just go.
Yeah.
And mentally, that's just like too much for me. Because if I don't know the landscape and I come up on a
Right.
mountain that I have to drive around, I'm
Right.
just gonna be there.
You gonna be
Okay.
there. I'll be there with
Just
you.
like,
Yeah, no. You are so right about that.
yeah, I
Ain't
have certain
nobody
little
got
phobias
time.
that just ain't going nowhere.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's okay. That's okay because I also heard that the locals be tired of us driving. They're like, you don't even understand the landscape. This is not cool. There have been a lot of accidents. Can
Yeah.
y'all just stop? So that's fair.
I'm like, okay, you got it. Done.
You got it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna leave that to y'all to handle and stuff. But yeah, I have no urge. And I know literally whether I go wherever I go, it's gotta be, train, bus, Uber,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that, and we're good. Um, so far as in your travels, excuse me, as you've been traveling for the past couple of years, as far as finances, was there like an easier way? Did you use certain platforms, like for lodging and things like that? How did that work if it wasn't in the programs?
Yeah, so definitely hotels are going to be the most expensive, is what I found out across the
Mhm,
board. Probably you're paying for those amenities, and that's why.
yeah.
But when you do things like a hostel, I think hostel, you can find like the most cheap accommodations, but this also might mean you have a shared room with some strangers. I don't know how people feel about that. And then I would say in the middle is probably something like Airbnb. Really
Mhm,
good to find discounted rates for housing as well. You can get like really small places. You can get places that are like shared, like common areas are shared, kind of like a
mhm,
dorm. Yeah,
mhm,
so you can get like a whole variety on Airbnb in terms of accommodations. But yeah, that's what I would say. If you're looking for something cheap, probably a hostel or probably doing something with Airbnb. And then for you, when you do your pet sitting, that also allows you to get access to free housing? No?
mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
pet sitting, it's like so yeah, because I knew I wanted to go to Valencia. I wanted to go along the coast sometime in May before my daughter's pregnant with baby number 2. And so I know she was like, "You got to be here in July.
You
You
got
can't go
to be
nowhere." Okay.
here.
She was
We
like,
need
she told me this
you.
in December. She's like, "So I'm pregnant, and so come July, you can't go nowhere." I was like, Okay, respect.
She
I'm
needs
happy to do it."
you.
But so yeah, I purposely started looking because I knew I wanted to go like somewhere, along the coast. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I'm open in May for this experience, and I'm thankful that I did secure a pet sit. So I'll be in Valencia for a couple of days. I already reached out to the Black community there, the women there. I'm like, hey girl, so this is when I'll be in town. Make a
Yeah.
party for me. No, I'm
Make
just
a
playing.
party for you. Stand up. I love that. Yes.
But no, yeah, I want to meet with them because there's some women that I've actually interviewed on my channel, and I know that there are communities there. So, and I find my own things too, but I'm making a plan to be, and if the pet sit, if I can find another pet sit that's just right before or right on the tail end that'll let me stay a couple of days longer, great, because I can
Yeah.
work from anywhere. Yeah.
That'd be
So
perfect.
yeah, but yeah, free accommodations. Whew, yeah,
Is the move.
I
Yeah.
have yet. I'm open to staying in a hostel. My daughter was like, "No, you're not." I I am open. I do know that it has to be like one of those private rooms.
Okay, yeah,
I
you
I
could get a private
yeah,
room, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know if I actually I don't. It's not that I don't know. I don't want to
You don't want to.
stay in a place and stuff where like I know I snore. I don't want to like wake myself up and scare myself thinking that other people are like being offended by my snoring. Okay. I don't want to find out if your socks are clean, and I don't want to like be laying down and just smelling like wet feet. I don't want to. Yeah, nope. So I need my own space.
You need your own
Um,
space.
yeah, but like when I just came back from Madrid because I did not have a pet sit this past week when I was in Madrid. But I got an Airbnb. I rented a room. Very nice guy. Wonderful. Loved it. He
Yeah.
didn't speak a lick of English. I didn't speak a lick of Spanish. He had a cute little dog. He had the room
Aw,
was set up perfect and it was very centrally located, so I can go and do whatever and meet with people or go do my thing and head on back safely. But
that's nice.
yeah, yeah, big hotels is only if I have like major like family guests coming in. If I can't find like a good Airbnb, yeah,
That's
that's
a
it.
good point, and for me, I also use hotels if it was a solo trip, because
Mhm,
the hotels can help you, like, find taxis or activities and stuff, so that's
mhm.
when I'll, go in a hotel, yeah.
I just say thank you for that. So you are too grown and sexy for a hostel. Never say that. No, I will still stay in a hostel. I don't have a problem with that. I just don't. I'm pretty sure that I just don't want to like disturb or offend anybody else with my snoring because I think I snore cute. That may not be the view for other people. I think I'm like, and that's it. But it might. People are like they're killing us. So
Can't sleep.
never know. And so yeah, I'm not opposed to it. I've never experienced it. My daughters, I think that I might be a little bit too bougie to do that. No, I keep my
Okay,
mind open. Yes.
you gotta try it
So
then.
yes, what was your hostel experience?
Alright, so I had a hostel experience in Nicaragua. I had a
Hmm.
hostel experience in Italy, and I might have had a third hostel experience. Um, so one of the hostels I actually did meet a friend, and it actually turned out to be a person from the US who lived like very close to where I live. So when I came back to the
Oh,
US, we actually became friends. So that was really cool. Another
okay.
one, I do agree with you. Sometimes there can be people that are a little unhinged. Maybe they have different practices before they go to bed. So, like, we were in one, it was a friend and I, we're both women. We were in one that was unisex, and these dudes, like completely naked beside the underwear. And I'm like, why? You don't have any pajamas? They didn't have any pajamas. They were like, this is how
Mm-mm.
I go to bed.
That wouldn't even shock me. That wouldn't shock me. It's like, okay. Now if they're walking around booty butt naked, I'll be like, okay, can
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 you
you just
please?
slip on something before you come up from under the covers, please?
Can you
Yeah.
please slip on something? Yeah, and then our stuff, they will sometimes have lockers within your room, and then you'll lock your stuff in those
Hmm.
lockers. And when I was in Italy, I felt like, we really respected each other's spaces. I think it was only two, four, six. It was like four other people. My friend and I, we
Okay.
were on a bunk bed, and then the other two people were on bunk beds, and they did their own thing. Or sometimes we even went on tours with other people that we met in our hostel. So like sometimes you can make friends if that's what you're interested in. But what you talked about people sleeping practices and being different with what they do, that is the truth. If a person is snoring, there's nothing that can be done. If a person has clothes on, doesn't have clothes on, like they do what they do regarding
Hmm.
sleep. And if that is jarring to you, I could see it being like, no, thank you, but definitely affordable. Definitely
Okay.
affordable.
So when eating, like when you're eating in different countries, depending on the situation, do you find yourself, as they say in the country, so you making groceries, or are you like, do you like have enough groceries for like one meal a day and then going out the rest of the time? What do meals kind of look like depending on where you are?
Yeah, I find that in the US, I eat out a lot more than when I'm abroad. A lot of cultures that have like food as an important staple or piece of the culture, I definitely have gotten impacted by that and try to cook a lot more. You know, you got your bodegas or little small shops that you can get like essential items from. So I definitely will find myself cooking a lot more when I'm abroad.
Okay. Okay. Because I've been working remote since 2018.
Okay.
So I have what, and and I was in the States up until, well, last year. Anyways, I would work and then come 4 or 5 o'clock. I would always go to whatever little restaurant, sit at the bar, have me a drink, 2 cocktails, and have me an appetizer, and then I come back.
Hmm.
And that was just the norm for years
Yeah,
because, I just want to get out, and see people, especially after the pandemic. I was like, I need to talk to somebody.
exactly.
So, yeah, you're working all day. But, anyways, um, I thought, now, when I first came, I was like, oh, I want to try all the foods. And, I do. I'm still a foodie that likes to go out. But I've come to realize that whereas in the States, I used to go out probably a good 5 days a week easily.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, because again, I was at home. Here, I might go out to dinner maybe 2 days a week,
Nice.
maybe 2 days a week, and a lot of times, it's usually you're just going out to maybe have that little 1 drink and a tapas, so it's nowhere near as expensive.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about the tapas. I think that was one of the things I really liked about Spain was they always had them tapas. I was like, I would take a
Mhm.
tapa. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, and it took a while for me to get past that because it's like a tapa. I was like, "Oh, I need 15 of those." Not that many. I was just joking. Okay.
They are small. You're right.
Yeah, but, so even if you get 2, they always come on a piece of bread, some, like, heavy carb or whatever and stuff, and so you're eating that and you're like, "This was full. I really just needed 1 just to hold me over. We're good to go. It's
You're
very
good to go.
simple." Yeah. Because yeah, or just learning how to like just like don't eat the bread, but once they put the olive oil with the bread, you're like, I gotta eat it. Okay.
That olive oil. And actually in Spain was the first time that I learned that you didn't have to have salad dressing on your salad. Like they would just put salt and olive oil. I had never seen that
Yeah, I'm
before.
still getting used to that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I've
Yeah.
actually off topic on topic. I've actually accepted the fact that I have to make my own dressings now.
Okay.
Because the dressings that they have at the grocery stores here,
You don't like those dressings.
I don't like them, but it also goes to show me also that I shouldn't have been liking the ones in the US because who knows what they were full of. Whoa. So, yeah, I've actually started like I make like a dressing like at least twice a week that I'm going to be using within 24 hours. Yeah. So
Nice.
it's like, yeah, yeah. Who is this person? Is so you had something called uh what's the- like when did you have to use quote negotiation skills when
Okay.
traveling?
Yes, negotiation skills. So, negotiation is really great with travel. Sometimes, depending on what the country you're in, they have it kind of already embedded into the culture where the original price that a person tells you is not going to be the actual price of the item. And so you kind
Mhm.
of like go back and forth. It's like this price, that price, no, this price, I'll pay you this. Let me walk away and see if the person follows. Stuff like that where you can
Yeah, I can't
really
haggle. I can't
yeah,
haggle.
haggle. Thank you. That's the word. Haggle.
I can't.
Haggle. Yeah. So a lot of countries that I've been in Africa, they do haggling. And yeah, you're right. It is a pressured situation, but sometimes you got to know when to walk away and sometimes they'll
Mhm.
bring you back. I was haggling, oh my gosh, I was haggling in Tanzania over a painting. And the guy was like, "Are you an accountant?" I'm like, "No, not at all." But I kept being like, "How about this? How about that? We could do this. Could you throw in an extra this? We'll give you this if you throw us in an extra bag of it."
Mhm.
Yeah.
See, I got.
You
Um,
got.
oh, I got. I got. I say in different ways and stuff twice. One was in Mexico. I was in Puerto Vallarta. We went on a day trip, and I forget the name of the little hippie town that's on the other side of the peninsula. Don't. If you're looking, you know who it is, where it is. So, anyways, we go. It was beautiful. Had a wonderful day trip. So happy about it. Um, and I saw some jewelry, and I'm thinking pesos. I know how to convert in my mind what it is in USD and stuff. But by the time he was like, you buy this one, you get this one free, and da 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 stuff. He talked to me and stuff. And by the time I finished, I was like, I think I just spent $75 on. Wait a minute. I was like, and he's like, yes, we take credit cards. And I saw the receipt, and I was like, that's not what we said. Okay. And I was like, yeah, you got punked. Yeah. I was looking at that necklace. I was like, either I'm gonna love you really, really hard for the rest of my life because this is the necklace I got punked with. Okay. I just want to give it to somebody else because it's bad juju. I don't know. But yes, I the haggling thing, I got punked in Morocco. Yeah.
Yep.
The cab
Yep.
driver got me. The cab driver got me.
Yep, we had to do that in Morocco too. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And
Yeah.
even though I am interested in moving to Colombia, I'll warn y'all too, them taxi drivers in Colombia. We got multiple times. So it's better to use an app because then it's already established what the price
Mhm.
is. But when you walk
Mhm.
up to them taxi drivers, they hear that accent, they're like, bet, where did you need to go? I can take you wherever you need to go.
Girl, I literally got off the plane, went through. As soon as you walk out, there's cats everywhere in Morocco. Yeah. Especially in Rabat. I don't know if there's other places, but definitely in Rabat. Like you hear
Okay.
them in the parking lot of the airport. It was I was like, what is happening? So they told me before I went, they were like, here's the app for like it's the Moroccan Uber that
Yeah.
you have to use. So I'm like, okay. So I put it on my phone, and I I'm at the airport, and I'm not finding out. The guy's like, I'm here. I'm like, I don't know where here is. So I turned to some very nice guys. I was like, where can I go pick this up? Oh no, that's illegal here. No, you can't take that. You can't use it. You have to take one of our cabs. Oh, okay. Okay. I
It's okay.
got, and I knew not to get into that cab until I got the exact amount that was going to be charged.
Yep.
I got in. He was
It's not your
driving. I'm in a
fault.
new country, and all of a sudden he said 40 something euro. I was like, really? Okay.
It's not your
I
fault.
got. Yeah.
Them taxi drivers globally.
They're pros. They
Globally.
know.
Yeah.
So you've learned how to negotiate. You've learned how to, um, communicate. You've gone to different countries
Yeah.
where you've had challenges where it wasn't Spanish. And we're going. Let me know if you got a hard stop and everything, because I can. Usually we stop at like a hour 15. We're at an hour and a half, so we might go another 15 minutes. If you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with
Okay,
them having a great time.
cool. She said it. She said it. Okay, so you've gone to different places. Some experiences that you've had, were they really expensive experiences or things that you figured out how to enjoy and do some different things that were, I don't want to say cheap, because we don't want you to have cheap experiences that, when you're hanging upside down. But you had experiences. What kind of experience did you have, and were they break the bank experiences, or just like, yes, I can do that, this is worth it?
This is a great question. So I think that there's a range of experiences that you can have. There are some break the bank experiences that I saw other people having. I did not have them myself. Some of them would just like to stunt on the gram, like they just wanted to go to this fancy restaurant, or they just wanted to have this particular experience. Like this is a must see. Everybody must do it. But for me, I just I pay attention to my spirit, to my soul. What do I want to do? What am I interested in? It's my trip. And so I found ways to have free experiences. Sometimes I won't even go on tours. I'll look up like the sites that people go to and I'll just go there myself. And
Mm,
maybe I'll go into a museum and I won't even have a tour guide. I'll just walk around and read it myself. So I'm a person that kind of falls in like the mid range to like cheap when I get there. I'm
mhm.
like, we already had to spend all that money to get here. Let's find out ways where we don't have to spend additional money doing all of the things. So I will allow myself to at least have one expensive experience, just one, but not like all the time. It's not going to be something I do a lot. So, like I said, doing the one bungee jumping experience, allowing myself to have that, or I have gone gorilla trekking when I was in Uganda. So, like allowing myself to do something like that, whitewater rafting. But um,
Okay, stop,
overall,
stop, stop, stop. What is gorilla trekking?
yes. So gorilla trekking is when,
What? What?
yeah, this is like a thing that you can do in Uganda in particular. You can do it in other countries too. Is when you actually go and see gorillas. So you like go into the forest, you're like trekking, you're walking for a long time. And then once you see gorilla sightings, you stop and you take pictures.
So, but gorillas. I'm glad that you had a wonderful time, right? You did
Yeah,
have a wonderful time.
I
Okay. In
did.
my mind, though, I don't want to be a naysayer because I don't want to be like, why would you do that? But I what was that like? Because I'm like, I feel like if you're in a vehicle and and they're like, oh, look at that tiger over there, the elephant over there. Y'all can put, the pedal to the metal and take off if it looked like the animal is coming towards you. But you said y'all were walking.
We were walking. We were on foot. We are steps away from the gorilla. If you check out the video that I mentioned, the African Travels Fun Things to Do, I have pictures in there and video of the gorilla. So yes, you're right. We were not in a car. We could not drive away. We were pretty respectful to the gorillas. We kind of kept our distance, or you could keep your distance from the gorilla. They kind of told us how to interact with them. They were just very calm creatures. It wasn't like they were trying to buck or anything. They were really like eating, taking care of their family, didn't really care much about us. It was just like, don't startle them, don't bother them, obviously, don't touch them. But I think that they didn't even care that we were there. They were just living their lives.
Okay. And I think, okay, so maybe I'm projecting. There was a video out a long time ago, where, it was like in some other country, and the guy had his little monkey. It wasn't anything like, it wasn't a gorilla and stuff. And guy's just looking and he's sitting down and stuff, and all of a sudden the monkey like went and just like grabbed his head and scratched his head and scalped him. And after that, I was like, oh, I don't need to be around. I mean, nope, nope. And the guy, it happened so fast that the guy was just looking like, oh, what and stuff. And people are like, you're bleeding, your scalp is missing. And
Oh my
so
God.
that, I think, just watching that one video, and this, I want to say this is probably 10 years ago, it traumatized me so much. And I was like,
Okay.
I didn't have anything in my mindset that I was going to be traveling anywhere to do, to interact with monkeys. But at that moment, I was like, well, and we're
You're
never
good.
going to do that.
Never
Okay.
gonna do that. Yeah. It's okay. There's a lot of scary things out here on the internet. Some people do have some negative experiences. I'm not going to
Mhm.
pretend like that's not a thing. I think you in particular need to really follow the rules. They will let you know what each animal is like, how they respond to people. So they always tell us how to go about approaching the animals or not approach them at all, how to be
Okay.
quiet, things like that. And sometimes people don't listen. And so obviously the animals do have feelings too, and they have their own needs as well. And
Yeah.
so
They're like, not today.
not today, not
Okay.
ever. I tried to tell you once. So
Wow. Which one was it? I'm trying to pull the video. Which one was it?
it's fun activities to do in Africa. It
Okay.
African adventures, the bungee jumping, the cooking class. Yeah, you all should check out that video because it's really like if you are hesitant to go to countries in Africa, it's going to really show my experiences in real time of the things that I did in those 5 countries. So, yeah,
Okay. I got it. And I'm
perfect.
putting it in the comments right now.
Awesome.
Yes. Oh.
So don't be
Kind of
afraid.
like
You can visit these animals and you can maybe can do a safari where you can drive away and that will be more comfortable for you, you know? Yeah,
let's talk about it. Yeah.
I
Okay.
got you.
So, so what are some things that you feel like people don't know? And I know that this sounds like a very broad question or inquiry, but I feel like you've done some traveling where you maybe have like some kind of mental outline of some quick like this is what you don't know, this is what you should consider to make life a little bit easier if you're doing some global travels.
Yeah, definitely have those insights. So, depending on where you're going to go, I would say one thing that people don't know is that it can be cold in African countries. When we went gorilla trekking, freezing, like we had to go up to like the mountains area in order to see the gorillas, and it was very, very cold. And I know we talk about Africa as a very hot place, but I want you to know that there is variation within Africa, 54 countries, and every country is not the same. And so there is going to be a range in like the temperature that you feel. Another thing is that there are places that are very strongly connected to religion. And so you might be going in there, shorts, t-shirt, and they are not having it, right? You might need to wear a hijab. Maybe the women are required to wear something to their ankles, and we really have to respect these cultures. I know a big thing in the US is like freedom of expression, wear what you want, do what you want. Girl, that is not the case. They will let you know you cannot go into this church with them shorts on. And so just
Mhm.
like knowing the culture of a space and knowing what religion they're leaning into and knowing what the people that live in that space are wearing to respect the place or just not to be an outsider or like cause unnecessary harm to a specific place or cause like issues. When we're in a different country, we have to respect the culture of the space even if we don't necessarily agree with it. It doesn't mean that we think that the things are okay. We don't have to think that at all, but we definitely need to be responsible when we're going to travel and be respectful. And then a third
Mhm.
thing, I think that this is the theme from both you and I, is that you don't have to know the language to travel. There are so many places that you can go. You can be on tours and find people that actually speak English on the tours. You can also learn some simple basic words when you're in the place that helps you communicate. All language is not spoken, right? This is why we have body language. Sometimes that's helpful to know where you need to go. How do kids communicate when we're like, I don't know what you're saying, but we still communicate with children all the time, right?
Yeah.
Because we're able to use other ways to communicate with us. So do not let that hold you back. I think that's the one takeaway I want to have with this conversation is don't let it hold you back if you can't speak the language. There are ways to navigate it. Like you talked about the group of women from Exodus Summit that went to
Mhm.
Vietnam together. Maybe it's like taking a group of people with you. Maybe it's having a person that speaks the language that is your guide. Maybe you know someone already that is in the country that can show you around. So that should never be a limitation for what you can do.
Yes. And two things I wanted to just piggyback on what you were saying because, like, when it comes to the churches, there are certain sites that are very welcoming. There's certain churches that are very welcoming to come in, be respectful, of course, to what the dress code is, and not like, well, this is all I got. Then don't go in. Okay.
Right.
Make other plans to not go in. But also, they have what I've seen is there's some churches or mosque or whatever that are actually having their daily um, activities going on. I don't think that's the church that you want to be going into. Go
Yeah.
into the tourist church, not the one where they are clearly being called to prayer, whatever it is
Clearly
at that
practicing
time.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be like, well, I need to go see what they're doing. No, you don't. You don't. Okay.
I just got a question. This looks interesting. You're not wrong.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like your right to, well, your right is it's not your right. It's a want.
It's a want.
Okay? You don't have the right to invade their space.
You
You might
don't have the
want to
right.
go and check it out. That's not your right. So don't get an attitude when you see somebody who is deeply into their own religious process or whatever that is, healing process, whatever that is, and and now you're mad because they're saying like we really don't want you to come in. Or actually, they shouldn't have to tell you not to come in. Don't come in. And furthermore, while we're at it, don't take pictures of them. Okay. Just like you don't want people taking pictures of you just randomly, when they're in a very personal space and time. I've just seen this, and this is why I was just like, you just took a picture of this person while they were praying. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
this is just my opinion that I feel very
Mhm.
strongly about.
It's a good one.
Um, yeah,
It's a good
this is
one. You
just how
should
I
definitely
feel.
ask people before you take pictures or not take them at
Hmm.
all. For sure.
Yeah. Because even like when I'm in the stores, like there was one place when I was just in Madrid, there was a store that had, I went to two different places. One had some really gorgeous jewelry, and I've got to go back there. When I go back to Madrid, I'm going back there. They had a little bit of tourist prices, but I'm gonna check out online to see if there's not the tourist prices. But I want to go back. But I always ask if I can actually take pictures or do any video. They had the Banksy exhibit in Madrid, and when I went in, I asked. There was also like a local, it was really cool, like local art gallery that was just had the coolest art. And I was like, oh, I've got to take pictures. But before I took any kind of pictures, I asked if it's okay,
Good
you
job.
know. So yeah, please do that. And the other thing is, yes, not knowing the language. There are so many groups that are out here that can possibly, just see when their meetups are. Go on, like I've said this before. I belong to Internations. If I know I'm going someplace, I'm going online to see what's going on with Internations. Is there anything going on? I actually have a premium membership, so if I wanted to create something while I was there, saying, hey, I'm going to go to this exhibit, or I'm going to go have cocktails or lunch at this place. Would anybody be interested in joining me? So put yourself out there,
Mm,
because the Internations, it's it's a mix of locals. It's a mix of expats, immigrants that have come, and they look to commune to hang out with other people. So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Love that. Love that.
So okay, yeah. So from the canopy to bungee jumping, how? Okay, had you ever bungee jumped before?
No.
Okay. So who talked you into it? Where you just feeling yourself? You feeling froggy?
I was feeling froggy, so I said Imma jump.
Okay. So she went in Uganda. You went bungee jumping. Was it a group? Of it was like a tour group.
Yeah, we had a group. It was about 4 of us. No one wanted to go bungee jumping but me.
So did the group
Mm.
go with you and cheer you on?
Yes, they cheer me on.
Okay.
You can hear them cheering for me in the video too, so shout out to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta go back and watch this. What were your thoughts as you were?
Nervous, I do have motion sickness. I oh man, I was really scared. I was really, really scared to say the least. And when it was happening, like, you know how you're on a roller coaster, you just feel your stomach drop? It was like that. It was like my stomach had left my body. It wasn't a part of it. I was super dizzy after it happened, regretting not taking my motion sickness pills before then. But I would also say this is the wild thing. I will also say I understand why people do it. Unpopular opinion. But it's
Why?
like
I'm about to
invigorating.
share this. I'm just gonna share this. I got to it. I'm like, gotta share it.
It's invigorating. Like you will never experience anything like it. It's wild. I'm like, well, it gives you like a rush. Does that make sense? Like a
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. It's the rush I need, but okay. Yeah, that's cool.
rush. Yeah.
Let's see here. If I add that to the
Oh
stage,
wow. Oh my god.
I have it on mute. So, and you can just, and your head just goes in the water.
Yeah, according to the person that was in charge, he said he would just have the water touch my head, but he dunked me completely in. I was unprepared.
Okay.
Unprepared. Thank you for pulling that up. That was really cool how you were able to do that.
I
Shout
got
out to
skills.
you. You got skills. You got skills.
So, Cherry PhD said, would you do it again?
Oh my gosh. Potentially. Hi, it's very nice to meet you. Yeah, maybe. If somebody's willing to go, I don't want to do it by myself again,
Okay.
but if somebody's willing to go, sure. I would like to jump out of a plane next.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, girl. Yes. Yes. I will be your biggest cheerleader.
Oh, so
Okay.
sweet. So sweet.
Just as I passed on the bungee jump and the tandem skydiving,
Yeah,
just wasn't
skydiving.
drunk enough.
Skydiving, that's it. Skydiving. You right, you right.
Okay.
That's
Okay. So,
okay.
but you would like to do the skydiving.
I would like to do the skydiving.
Okay. Well, that seems very challenging and intense. And, I respect that.
Thank you.
I ain't doing it. But yeah,
You ain't doing
that's
it. It's okay.
amazing.
We
That's
need
not my
cheerleaders.
mission.
We
Yeah,
need
what you need,
cheerleaders.
what the world, yeah, the world needs cheerleaders, and that's how I live for you. Yes,
We
absolutely.
love
Uh,
that. We
and so,
love
is
that.
there? Okay, so this has been fun.
This has been
I
fun.
feel like, of course, there's so much more that I wanted to ask you about, just the traveling and any other epiphanies and ways that you have made your journey um, better through the years.
Yeah. There just seems to be so much to learn out there. Oh my gosh, you all. Like whatever you're looking for, people have. Lots of museums, lots of culture. If you're a foodie, like I told you, the US doesn't really focus on food like that. But if you're a foodie, there be countries that are like, that's their bag, that's their ministry. They're cooking all the time and they're gonna make some good stuff for you. So, yeah, just getting out there, finding like what speaks to you, what speaks to you. Like, for example, I was in Trinidad for Carnival and I love music. I love dancing. So that like really spoke to me as a place of wanting to go and wanting to celebrate. So whatever you're looking for is out there. Yeah, you just have to be ready to take it, ready to find out what your thing is abroad.
Live bold, live
Live
bold.
bold.
Yes, travel smart, live bold. That is so amazing. So everything, the links for Maya's, excuse me, YouTube page is down there. Okay. She also has the email. Don't be emailing her just for email her with something. Okay. Okay. Don't be like emailing something. Hi. No. Okay. Email her with true inquiries, but follow her on YouTube. She is just getting started. As far as posting, she has, how many videos do you have up now? I mean, you're sharing a lot. And so yeah, she has you have 14 videos up now. Hey, and yes, great information and great insight. So definitely check that out. Please do, by the way, make sure that you are hitting that like button on this video, making sure that you are subscribing to my channel. By the
Subscribe,
way, I
subscribe,
had,
subscribe.
yes. By the way, just FYI, if you didn't know, I did start a Facebook group for those that are looking at wanting or considering Spain. I actually started the Black and
Wow.
Zaragoza. Facebook group. Started back in
Congratulations.
January. Yeah, I hadn't really been talking about it too much and stuff because everything else has been going on, but
Way to
staying
go.
informed about different things, about different events, about just being here and embracing it, whether you're looking at Zaragoza for long term or you just want to come through because you're kind of bopping around Spain and you want to. Again, Zaragoza is right between Madrid and Barcelona, so you got to come through. And if you are coming through, you got to hit me up and let me know so we can plan to meet up. Yes.
That
So
sounds
join the
fantastic.
group, Black and Zaragoza Facebook group. And anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to thank you for allowing me to be on your channel. Just reiterate to subscribe to your channel, subscribe to my channel. We got some really good things going on here. We love to have a community talking about travels, and we want to hear from you all too. So please stop on by. We are always excited to talk about travel and experience. And congratulations to you with Black and Zaragoza. That sounds fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm so proud of myself.
Well,
Well,
good.
lady, it's been wonderful. And everybody, please do make sure that you are doing things and bringing joy in your life and surround yourself with positivity, people that believe in you and want to just cheer you on, like me, like Maya.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'll talk to y'all later.